Hi everyone, Whitney here, your host with Needles Embroidery. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a applique circle monogram on the left side of the chest area of this hoodie. And then also in a different video I'm going to be showing you how to do a monogram on this hoodie, just right down the center. And so when it's laying flat on the back of the hood, when it's laying flat on the back of the jacket, it's actually upright, and it's a nice, beautiful vine monogram. Okay, to find the center of my hoodie, if I just folded it in half, there's a lot of bulk there. So what I do is I fold it in half, or I open it up and just have the front folded in half and the side seams matched up, and everything is lined up perfectly with those, and I'm able to find the center of the garment so much easier. There's not a lot of bulk now because the back of the garment is pulled away, and I just I used my measurements, measured down 7 inches and measured over 4 inches. On the back of the fabric, I have ironed out all the creases and cut part of this Heat N Bond Lite and just pressed it onto the back of the fabric. This is going to give me a really clean cut around the curves, and it will have no frays. Here I am prepping the stabilizer. This is a medium weight cutaway stabilizer. You can use tearaway, but with garments that are going to be high density for thread count or that's going to be worn a lot, I go ahead and use the cutaway. And the hoop, the inside of the hoop actually needs to be underneath the stabilizer and underneath the garment. So make sure that you get both underneath or on top of that. Okay, now I am going to be putting the hoop in place, and my first time around I don't actually quite center it up because I don't know if it's going to hold, but actually that was perfect. Sometimes it's too loose, sometimes it's too snug, so I just give it a test push, like a test press, and see if it's going to snap in place, and it does. Line up. There are little tick marks right here. Let me zoom in for you so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, there are little tick marks inside this hoop, and that is going to tell me where the center and the side center marks are. Okay, so I am just lining my snowman up with those marks. Takes a little bit of time, concentration. You may have to do some pushes, small pushes. Sometimes I put my hand down underneath here and give it a little push, like a tap or a pull, because once it's in the hoop, you should not be pulling on your garment, because that gives it unrealistic pulling, and then when you get it out of the hoop, you're going to wonder why there's puckering, and it's not very good. Okay, so I'm going to show you the inside here real quick. Okay, that looks really good. Sounds good. My stabilizer goes all the way around my hoop. Okay, that's what we're going for here, because if your stabilizer is kind of over here, it doesn't quite tuck around the hoop, you're not going to get that really taut finished. It's not going to be as taut, okay? So make sure that you pay attention to that. All right, I feel like I'm pretty much centered up. I'm going to go ahead and take it to my machine. Okay, my design is uploaded on my machine. Looking at the screen, I just hit the snowman button and it says, do you want to look for the snowman? The machine will move, and then my eye, well, my innovative eye will actually find the center of that snowman. It'll say found the center or didn't find the center. Once it's done, I will hit OK and hit sewing, and then it will start the sewing process for me. If you would like to see what tools I use to cut out the applique, please click on the video in the display box. When it is time to cut out your applique, you want to use the best pair of scissors for the project. Make sure that they are sharp and well oiled. And here I just start really slowly, just taking away all the excess fabric around the design. When going around the design, you want to make sure that you're cutting close enough to the stitches but not on the stitches, because if you cut the stitches, you will most likely cut part of the fabric away and it won't get caught underneath the satin stitches. Another trick of the trade are these seam ripper. The seam ripper actually gets into really small crevices or between, you can see here, between the fabric stitches from one letter to the other, and inside that A, I'm also going to be needing the seam ripper. You want to use your finger as a placement guide so you don't take that seam ripper all the way through your fabric and your garment, your embroidery item. That would make you cry, and then you'd have to start all over. So make sure that your finger is underneath to really catch the seam ripper and guide the seam ripper as you are cutting through the necessary fabric needed. Okay, so I'm going to be using both of these tools to finish cutting up the inside of this applique. I'd like to point out that because the fabric was treated or prepped with the Heat N Bond Lite, it cuts so smoothly and your scissors will just glide right through it. There's hardly any frays to it because the Heat N Bond Lite actually holds all of the fibers together. It cuts beautifully, it stitches out beautifully, and I'm able to get in between the A and the C so nicely, and you can actually see a really defined line there. Had I not used the Heat N Bond Lite, I would not have a really crisp design like this one. The second to the last step is the top satin stitch that goes all the way around the circle monogram. This is dense enough that it will cover all of your tack down stitches, but not so dense that it's going to perforate your fabric or the garment itself. The final touch is going to be cutting away the stabilizer on the back really close to the stitches, and also ironing on the Tender Touch stabilizer. See how little that was? But if I left that fabric in there, it would have looked unprofessional. So glad I took the time. It made me nervous the whole time I was doing it. Okay, if you have a sticky roller or lint roller, I would definitely use it. I actually used the last of my sticky roll the other day, so I don't have one. But there is the completed hoodie right there. To get these, to get the marks removed from around your embroidery design, all you have to do is take some starch and your iron and just kind of work over, spray it on there, leave the starch on there for just a few seconds, and then you can go back over it with your iron. It'll come right out, no problem. It'll look really sharp. All right, the next part of this is going to be embroidering on the hood. If you would like to watch that video, please click here. All right, thank you so much. Hi. Oh, hey, you can kind of see me. Haha. I'll fan out a little bit more so you can see my beautifulness. Hi. Oh, that calls for me. Bye guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you give this a try. If you have any tips for me, or if you would like to share any tips with the rest of our viewers, please hop on over to Needles Embroidery Tips and Help and comment there. Thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone, see you in the next video.